is up, everyone, and welcome to episode 23 of the regular season. I guess you could also call it season one's finale. The end of the 2021 NFL season is upon us, which means it's the end of season one of the regular season. And Nate, this weekend was the Super Bowl. Obviously, not the outcome some of us wanted, but it was a good game nonetheless. So, I mean, Nate, how was your weekend? And did you have a grand Super Bowl party, or did you sit on the couch with the dogs?
Yeah, I had a nice weekend. I was doing a show. I was commentating. We had like a split gate thing early in the day, so I got off and back to my place right at the start of the third quarter. I had to catch some of the highlights for the first half stuff, but I enjoyed myself. I still had some wings. The wifey hooked it up, so I made the most of it. I had a good time, but didn't really get to do anything super crazy. Gotta make that paper.
Yeah, I feel that. And how was your Super Bowl experience?
It was cool. I worked all the way up into I want to say 20 minutes before kickoff, and then I was able to make it home to watch the game. Enjoyed it. It was, a good game and a good weekend.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I ended up going over to a bud's place and hanging out with some of the fellow content creators here in Austin, which was pretty nice. Met a guy who runs a show over on it's not ESPN Radio in Austin anymore. Whatever it is, it's sports radio in Austin. He runs a show every Sunday morning. Cool dude. But it's fun. Besides the game, I won $7.50 on FanDuel Fantasy. Really killing it. Yeah, really,
Nice.
I'm really proud of myself on that one.
Don't spend it all in one place. Now.
I already entered and lost 2 NBA fantasy leagues, so so I have 95 cents in my account. But I mean, let's talk about the Super Bowl, the big game, the Super Bowl, the night of all nights when it comes to the NFL. Obviously, the Rams won. Matt Stafford's finally in the promised land. The Rams proving that you can go all in on a season and actually win it all. But, I mean, if we're talking superlatives here, and I have to say, and I don't know if you agree with me, but we're gonna start this off this way. I think the Bengals looked like the better team up until the last 5 minutes of the game.
I wouldn't say they look like the better team. I think Stafford had nerves. You could definitely see that. I think also OBJ going down early kind of messed their game plan up, because I honestly believe if OBJ was healthy, this was a blowout. This was going to be en route to a blowout. So I think it was just nerves, and they had to readjust. The running game wasn't hitting. Aaron Donald was getting double teamed, and a lot of frustration was built up. They couldn't bring 5 rushers because they didn't want to go one-on-one with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and everything. They needed that extra defender. So it was a lot of frustrations, and, the Bengals did what they could. But at the end of the day, like I said, it was a really great football game, though.
It was. I mean, Joey B, we've talked about Joe Burrow pretty much all season long. Very well deserving. By the way, we can talk about this. Well deserving of comeback player of the year. Probably had something like 90% of the vote compared to Dak Prescott's 10. But Nate, like Joe Burrow, besides I'm sure you said you saw the highlights. Besides the first 5 minutes of the game, Joe Burrow looked calm, collected, and poised until the very end of the game.
Yeah, it was amazing to watch Joe Burrow play. And this game does remind me a bit that the reality of this season for the Bengals, obviously we knew Joe Burrow coming back. We knew that he was great from his rookie season. He showed that immediately, and we really got to see his tenacity hold through this year. But the biggest thing that jumps out to me is I don't think that they were expecting to be done with the rebuild phase. I don't think that this Bengals team came into the season, and obviously their confidence in the way that they played brought them to the Super Bowl. But I don't think anybody's expectations were that this was like the year they'd do it. Like maybe Jamar Chase would be really good, but they still got some holes with the O-line, some defensive pieces that need to come in. But the way he held it together, I think the stat one of the beat reporters was putting out was like between the regular season and postseason this year, Joe Burrow got sacked like 70 times or something.
Yeah.
And I can't blame him for that. Obviously, Aaron Donald's a beast of his own, but he alone does not make that happen, right? So they've got a lot of things to look at for the future. Joe Burrow going in looked really good, and I love the way that he had that leadership. I don't know if you guys saw that the interview with Jamar Chase was like, I just do whatever he tells me to do. He's my leader. He's like, I don't have any opinions or thoughts when I'm around him. And I'm like, this kid's gonna have a great career. And I'm really, really happy, like you guys were both saying too, for Matt Stafford. You only get so many opportunities to play professionally in the NFL. A lot of players don't make it half as long as he has. And the fact that he's able to at least, whether or not it ever happens again, I don't think it matters. He's cemented his legacy as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't say the rebuild's over. And the fact that he was sacked 7 times for 43 yards, Bengals got to do some work on that offensive line. But hey, good for old Whit, Andrew Whitworth getting his title against his former team. But Ant, we have talked about the running game in the NFL all season long. It's no secret that you and I are fans of teams that can run the ball. This was not a clinic on how to run the ball. Joe Mixon had some runs that helped him get to 72 yards. But, I mean, let's be honest. Matt Stafford had a better running game than Sony Michel, and Cam Akers only had 21 yards. How did the Rams pull this off without a running game and with Stafford throwing 2 picks?
So the Rams knew the running game wasn't going to happen. So what they did was they did it just enough to show faith that, the defense had to keep there. So they would run the ball like maybe once or twice, knowing it wasn't going in there, and then they're going to just let it fly. But just the fact that they showed run all those times, it kept the Bengals honest because you never know what was going to happen. Then eventually they try to do a Philly special off of it, and it didn't work out. But the fact is, they try to keep it honest. On the Bengals side, it sucks because they had some good runs with Mixon. But when you get behind, now you got to play catch up, and that's what was going on. I wish they would have went to Mixon a little bit more in that running game, just because the offensive line was getting hurt out there. But the fact is, the Rams just did just enough running to pass the ball the rest of the game.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Both of those Stafford interceptions, Nate, and we've watched Stafford for over a decade at this point. I was like, oh, God, he's back. I was like, oh, God, that Matt Stafford's back. It's like we're in Detroit. This is going to fall apart. But somehow he kept it together. What did Stafford do that impressed you? And that, was it just the leadership, or was it, he kind of looked all over the place this game.
Yeah, well, he found Kupp towards the end of the game. I think we all know that's what happened. And this, it honestly gives me straight up like Madden vibes. This guy's like, okay, he's playing the Chiefs. All he does is throw the ball, Tyreek Hill. Like nobody else exists in the field. Nobody else is there. But Kupp still managed to constantly get open and get those spots. Like the couple goose eggs were terrifying. And for us being on the Bengals side of things or hoping, the best for the Bengals, it was a moment where I'm like, oh, is this it? Is this where we push it all the way? And then the offense just started fizzled out. Getting sacked over and over again did not do a whole lot of favors for them. I got really nervous when Burrow went down too.
Oh gosh, that was terrifying. And first of all, they zoomed in on Burrow's face when he went down, and that man was screaming. Now, luckily, he's been classified as a knee sprain, and he won't need surgery. It's just going to be traditional rehab, and he should be fine. They're saying it shouldn't affect his offseason. But, the Bengals have been doing some crazy things all season, and they kind of continued. I have to say my favorite play of this entire Super Bowl was Joe Mixon throwing the touchdown pass to T. Higgins, which, first of all, I don't feel like T. Higgins gets enough love from the media in how good he is. Also, the fact that he's a very large individual. But Could the Bengals have pulled this off if they had done more fun plays like this? Do you think once they got behind, or once the second half started, they went back to traditional football, and it kind of feels like they lost that groove?
It's tough to try to do those plays because you need time in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, there wasn't time in the pocket. And the reason why they caught the Rams off guard, you saw it because you thought it was a reverse,
Mm-hmm.
and the defensive back was looking in the backfield, didn't see T. Higgins slip past him. You can do those stuff if you just have time, but the fact is Burrows got sacked again, like what, 7, 8 times.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, once you get into the second and 15, third and 10, those long distance first downs,
Mm-hmm.
you can't do those trick plays. But yeah, if they could went back to the bag and do that again, we'd have been talking something different. But the fact is they couldn't keep Burrow upright.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And let's be honest, Joe Burrow had a great game. Like 22 of 33,
Yes.
263 yards, a touchdown, didn't turn the ball over. He protected the ball well. I hate ESPN's QBR because they gave him a 40. I don't know how this is calculated because I don't know. I feel like completing over 65% of your passes for 260 yards and a touchdown warrants more than a 40 out of 100.
Those sacks.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. But Nate, like, I feel like, and we're probably going to beat a dead horse on this, but it feels like it all came down to how poorly the Bengals offensive line played in like the last 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, without a doubt. Everybody can say what they want between like that long call, the long no call, and the big touchdown pass, or the penalty later on. I felt like it kind of balanced out and wasn't as much of a factor as the offensive line not showing up. There's simply no excuse for it. Even with Aaron Donald on the other side of the ball, if you want to win the Super Bowl against him, you have to give Burrow at least that second and a half to get it out of his hands. Because even as he was going down on that final play, he still got the ball out.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of the replay from that showed Chase had gotten open a little bit. You put one more second before Donald gets to him on that play, it could be a completely different conversation here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Joe Burrow did his job. I felt like running the ball. I felt like Mixon did his job. I felt like everybody put in as much of an effort as they could, but that offensive line just did not give Burrow the time to do what he needed to in order to win. But for lack of a better argument, I felt like these stats are incredible in spite of this offensive line,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know many games where I've watched in professional NFL where a guy goes 22 of 33 for 263 yards and a touchdown and gets sacked 7 times.
Yeah.
It doesn't really happen. Usually there's an interception in there mixed in from losing the ball coming out while you're getting hit. But Joe Burrow, I mean, he did the most that he could, but he's still a second year, right? Maybe he finds a way to play without an offensive line in his third or fourth season.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. You're right, and I love that you brought that up because after the game, I got home and I sat here and I watched some highlights and I watched that last play over and over and over, just seeing what the Bengals could have done to save the game right there. And honestly, if Burrow had an extra half second, Jamar Chase was already 10 yards past his defender. It was insane. He was wide open, and Burrow would have hit him, right? F it, Jamar's down there, throw the ball. And we would be having a different conversation. But I think, we can beat this dead horse. But Ant, they have to focus on the offensive line moving forward. I don't think this is the last we'll see of the Bengals in the Super Bowl over the next 6 years at all.
No, it's not. I know Joe Burrows will be back, but here's the thing. He won't be back if he's not protected.
Nope.
If you don't protect your money, if you don't protect your franchise, then you won't be back. Then we're looking at a Carson Wentz situation where he gets hurt quite a bit. This free agency, I cannot wait for that show because fat guys will get paid. I don't care if you were the third string on the practice squad for the Lions. You're going to get paid premium money because we saw this season that protection broke down. A lot of offensive linemen got hurt. So you need stout offensive line. The draft is going to be interesting of taking linemen probably earlier than expected because you need to protect that quarterback. And everybody's going to look at the Chiefs when they got the center, your boy. They're going to look at him and like, oh, he came in the second round. We might have to look deeper in the draft. And we'll get to that on another show. Offensive line help is so important this offseason.
Yeah, it's wild because the problem that the Bengals had in the Super Bowl is what ruined other teams, whether it was Carolina, Detroit, and Nate can talk to the Jets, like some of these teams where they have younger quarterbacks, or I mean, Detroit has Jared Goff, who's been around a bit, but unprotected and couldn't succeed. Yet somehow the Bengals made it this far without an offensive line. I think is a testament to who they are as a team and who Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and crew are. And let's not forget that Joe Burrow threw for almost 300 yards with Uzomah basically out with an MCL sprain. He was still playing, but he wasn't effective, right? Like he wasn't running routes like he used to. He wasn't able to break free. But on the opposite side of the ball, you know, we've talked about what the Bengals haven't done. If I'm being honest, like this Lions, Matt Stafford, Lions, same thing. This Rams team, in any other situation, should have been beat by in all intents and purposes for the way that they looked. They didn't look like a Super Bowl team with the turnovers they had. It wasn't until the last 5 minutes when those sacks started really coming in, or last quarter when those sacks started coming in, when Von Miller was able to shed Joe Mixon a little bit better and get in there. But, I mean, Nate, Cooper Kupp putting this team in his little backpack and saying, come on, kids, let's go. And taking off and really taking control of this game, it has to be the determining factor for him because nothing else really took off for that Rams team.
Yeah, no, that final drive, it was just like, boom, straight to Kupp, finding ways. What was the last touchdown play? Boom, right out off the end zone. Kupp, go up and get the ball. Win us the game. Give us the Super Bowl. And as much as I have everything great to say about him, they're never going to give the MVP to a defensive player. So I'm going to say my MVP for this game was still Aaron Donald. He absolutely took over the game. And on the deciding play where Burrow could have had a wide open Jamar Chase, whom he definitely would have been able to hit on the field, Aaron Donald was the one that said, no, this game is going to end right now. And he made that happen. And there's very few players in the NFL that have the ability to do that. On offense, it's incredibly rare to see like, oh yeah, so some guy can just score in this situation all the time. No, that's a hard thing to do. It's hard to get the stop on the defense, but that was a hell of a performance by 99.
It really was. And it was a fun game because this felt like old school knockdown, drag out football. And I love watching those games. It was edge of your seat. My buddy, who's an actual Bengals fan, was pacing the entirety of the second half. I'm like, all right, bud, you got to sit down. You're getting out of control here. But I like that Stafford was able to spread the ball around. You know, got Skowronek in there. He got Van Jefferson handful of times. Henderson, the ball. Hopkins, like everyone saw the ball for the Rams, and I think that was what really helped them because when OBJ goes down, you're now looking at, well, who's going to step up? Because we talked about it. Cooper Kupp is double, triple covered on half these plays. Good job, Eli Apple, and not doing your job on literally the only play that mattered in the game. Also, Cooper Kupp, the play before the touchdown where there was the flag and he caught the ball, but he was knocked out of bounds before he landed with it. That dude had a concussion. You cannot convince me otherwise. He had a concussion, then caught the game-winning touchdown. If you go back and look at it, when he sat up, he just kind of looked like he was half dead. That dude was concussed to the max.
It seemed, I mean, there are some obvious realities of the you know, the weight of the game and all of that. The refs clearly tried to be hands off. They made up for a call towards the end, but generally there wasn't a whole lot of towels on the field, and
now the Rams,
nobody caught anything, right? Nobody broke any protocols. Nothing happened at all. They understand that people have their eyes on them. They knew this was going to be a crazy watched game, so.
Bro, they hit the last 3 minutes of the game, and the refs were like, "Wait a second, we haven't thrown any flags. All right, let's make up for it right now."
I gave Cincy a touchdown. We need to give LA a touchdown.
Yeah, but They missed one call, and you can argue that, and we were talking about this on Sunday, you can argue that Jalen Ramsey was holding Higgins before the face mask happened. So the reason they didn't throw the flag is that it would have been offsetting penalties anyways. Like they were fighting on the way to the pass anyways.
His neck went the other way.
Yeah, and
Yeah, the way
Higgins
his
was
head
almost dragged to the ground by Ramsey before the pass happened. Go look at it. Go look
Yeah,
at
They
it.
let
You may from a literal rule perspective that might be correct, but there's there's some kinds of things people are going to see that everybody feels the way they do about it because it looked that bad, whether or not it was allowed.
But I mean, and then the flag against Wilson on Cup in the red zone is one of the most asinine flags in most unacceptable missed calls I've ever seen. That way he wasn't holding Cup. And I can't remember who it was. This dude who's a linebacker in the NFL right now even said the reason that flag was thrown is because you're always going to assume a mismatch between a number one receiver and a linebacker in coverage. And it looks like the linebacker's holding when he's not.
he did grab the small of his back.
Yeah, and Cup pushed off of him.
But he did. But here's the thing. This is how the ref will see it, and it always will go like this. Once Cup got extension away, but you can still see the linebacker trying to grab or like the tug of the jersey away, it's always going to be a defensive holding call right there. Just because of the fact that he couldn't catch up to the separation, but he was still trying to grab. I mean, I understand. And I know you tweeted about it, how you said the referee cost that game. But no, the one with the Ramsey face mask is kind of blatant.
Well, and then, okay, so, and blatant calls that are missed, literally on the ensuing Cincy drive, Perrine was basically tackled before Joe Burrow even threw the ball, and there was no flag.
Aaron Donald. Some of the Aaron Donald one where he just grabbed the man before he went anywhere?
He had run a slant across the field, and it was an incomplete pass, but Perrine was being swung around before Burrow let go of the ball.
I mean, like I said, some things you let go.
Oh, okay.
I think the ref did a good job this game with like choking the whistle until, that thing happened towards the end.
You know who else did a good job this game as we move on from the Super Bowl, which congrats to OBJ and Matt Stafford for completing their anime redemption arcs. Happy for both of them. Love to see Matt Stafford getting it, no matter what Richard Sherman says about Matt Stafford not belonging in the Hall of Fame. That halftime show. Halftime show.
That was a good time.
That was a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, listen, all the memes coming out about 50. Okay, listen. I see all these people putting out tweets like, "Oh, 50's big now." All right, bitch. I bet you fatter since that song came out too.
Yeah, probably.
That guy was still.
Who hasn't put on a couple pounds after 2 years of staying inside?
Yeah,
honestly,
exactly.
The guy's still jacked enough to go up and lift himself up and get upside down so he can recreate the In the Club music video and rap upside down. But that was fun. Dre, Eminem, Snoop, Mary J. Blige, 50, Anderson .Paak making an appearance playing drums, which was awesome. It was really cool because, did anyone expect the three headliners that they were in Dre, Eminem, and Snoop to listen to the guidelines that were provided to them by the NFL?
That was funny that they really tried to throw some guidelines, and that's just NFL being scared. Because Dr. Dre had one, and it wasn't to say a certain line.
Yeah, you can't say I don't like the police, and the guy's from NWA.
Like you should have just said, "Hey, don't play this NWA song." You knew it was going to happen. That was funny. What they told him and them not to take a knee, and right after, like at the end of the performance, he did. Yeah. You telling these multi-million-dollar like stars not to do stuff, they're gonna do it.
Did anyone even listen to Eminem's song that he did before he kneed? He literally said his knees weak, arms are heavy.
That's true. That's true. I feel like they need to
That-
be. They should just.
His knee.
It doesn't hurt to be respectful of the man telling you that his knee is tired.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, these guys they put up for all of it, right?
Yeah.
They made it happen, didn't they? They paid for everything. The NFL just basically says, yeah, you guys can do whatever you want during X period of time. Be off the field before the game starts. But I read that Dre put like $7 million of his own money, whatever. You know, they want to play the music, they want to make their statement, go for it, right?
Yeah.
All they want is for there to be less violence, right?
Yeah.
So I'm the last thing I'm gonna do is go against that.
I think what's crazy about this is we keep talking about like Dre and Snoop and Mary and M. That was Kendrick Lamar's show. I think he was the best out of all of them.
I'm biased. No,
I was all in
so
for Snoop.
good.
I was all in for Snoop. I was all in for Snoop and Dre going off on the top. That back and forth, every part of that was solid gold to me.
Did you guys see the internet up in arms because Snoop smoked a joint before the show? In other news, water is wet.
Exactly.
He literally fell asleep on his Halloween special. He was so baked out of his mind after eating chocolate for a half hour. Martha Stewart had to tap him on the shoulder. It was amazing. I love you, Snoop.
I thought it was dope when Dre was playing. He played a Tupac song on the piano, and I was just like so happy because Tupac would have been there on stage. If you're out in the West Coast vibe, you saw all the dancers dressed up in like that Compton gear, the white beater, the brown like button up. It was really like, give me 2 hours of that.
Yeah.
Like that was just a great concert. And they showed the kicker for the Bengals.
Yeah, Evan
he was
out there. Money McPherson.
That man was just like a little kid in the candy store, like watching the people he grew up like imagining. It was dope.
Yeah, he wasn't even alive when half that music came out, which is hilarious.
Yeah, but he was happy. He was rocking.
Oh, dude, and Mary slayed out. God, Mary J. Blige is a gift to this planet. What a badass woman with a voice. That was super fun. Snoop got a medical exemption for weed.
Man does. Man.
They told Snoop
he cannot be stopped.
No,
Snoop Dogg exists outside the law. I'm convinced.
Yeah. They told Snoop not to wear a blue handkerchief, and so this guy walks out with his entire outfit being a blue bandana.
Oh, man, everything's gonna see all right.
Man, that was good. I think that's my favorite halftime show of all time. It's wild because growing up, I was like, why are we getting these halftime shows with all of our parents' music and all this stuff, and it's Paul McCartney and X, Y, and Z, and then it hit me during this one, and I was like, shit, we're the old ones now.
So like this was the best one, but close to it, and I'll never forget it for some reason. The Prince performance.
Prince was fire.
Look, when he did Purple Rain and it was raining
with that giant sheet too, and his guitar like a giant dong.
He didn't care that the rain could have messed up the guitar. He was such a badass. Like it was raining. And he said, I'm gonna play this electric guitar. He didn't care about getting shocked or nothing. that boy good. He is.
Yep. Prince was great. This was fun. They hit all the songs that everyone thought they were gonna hit, which was cool. Again, Anderson .Paak being there. If you guys don't know who Anderson .Paak is, go look him up. He was the one playing the drums the whole time. That dude is one talented son of a bitch. But props to the NFL and Pepsi for putting together the finest collection of hip-hop they could. They said it whenever it was starting. That was the first time this was a full hip-hop and R&B combined Super Bowl halftime show. It's never just been hip-hop and R&B, which is dope because we talked about this last week, and like when you talk about who makes up the majority of NFL players, and then also who makes up a vast amount of fans of the league, you would figure that we would have had a hip-hop based show earlier than 2022.
Yeah, you would have thought, like, honestly, but I'm not surprised. I think nobody on this panel is surprised
Nope.
that it took this damn long, and the way some people react, it's kind of funny and sad. But look, at the end of the day, we saw a dope performance by people that we love, we grew up watching. But yeah, I'm not surprised.
Dre still got it. That man has billions of dollars. He's like, you know what? I'll go to the halftime show. This will be fun. Put me on a tiny house. Too. He's like, put me on a tiny house. Let's go.
Worth.
But that was the Super Bowl. A great game. Great halftime show. Wasn't, of course, the biggest week for news, but we do have some news. We talked about it. Joe Burrow suffered a knee sprain on that play. I was certain he retore his ACL. I was certain. But luckily that's not the case. He won't need surgery. This shouldn't impact him moving forward. But again, Nate, we've talked about this. The Bengals have to prioritize offensive line over literally everything else this offseason, right?
Yeah, no, that has to be it. Look, they've clearly got the receiver situation in a good place. Everybody that they have, for the most part, could do their jobs except the O-line. It's the biggest glaring. Yeah, it's the biggest glaring hole. Like if there's an opportunity in free agency or somebody in the draft, like obviously you're not only going to be picking up offensive linemen, so take a flyer on a wide receiver, just see what's happening, whatever. But O-line 100%. I want to see that. Coming from a team that was the sack machine before we got rid of Darnold, nothing makes me happier than the fact that it's been O-line in that first round for a few years now.
Yep, I love it. And then Ant, you're a big OBJ fan. Possible ACL tear. What does that mean for OBJ? So normally, if you tear your ACL mid-season, you're probably going to be ready to come back by the next season. But this was a Super Bowl ACL tear, hasn't been confirmed. How does this impact next season for Odell Beckham Jr.?
I'll be honest with you. I think he should retire. He got two major knee injuries and an ankle injuries in the last 4 years. At the end of the day, you got your Super Bowl ring. You probably won't be back until December, maybe January. Because if you remember Adrian Peterson when he tore his ACL, he came back in like 6 months, and that was like unheard of. But Peterson is built differently. This is an injury that's going to take a year, if not a little bit less to it. I mean, unless the Rams are going to give him a loyalty contract. Sad to say, this might be the end of the road for OBJ, but I don't want to. I'm just glad that he got a touchdown, and he did get the Super Bowl ring. But yeah, it's the same knee, so it doesn't look good.
Yeah, and it's very wild for the Rams. We're talking about a team that just went all in to win the Super Bowl. But if we're talking about it, Austin Corbett, their right guard, who played 100% of the snaps this season, Brian Allen, their center, Darius Williams, their cornerback, Von Miller, Odell Beckham Jr., Sony Michel, Dante Dayon are all unrestricted free agents this season. And they're $13 million over the cap. So I don't know if the Rams have a place for Odell Beckham Jr., and that's what sucks, because now he's going into free agency with a torn ACL, and that could deter. I mean, that's going to deter a slew of teams from signing him. So hopefully you're right, and that they may give him a loyalty contract. Dude's going to have to take a pay cut compared to his last contract. That's obvious. But we'll see where it goes from there. I hope he lands on his feet if he doesn't retire, though. He's too fun to watch to not be on a team.
Yeah. He's one of those guys that just say what you want about whatever personality, blah blah blah. But when he's on the field and he's making plays, he is a special player. He's someone worth watching.
That purple hair for the Super Bowl, I loved it. That dude's awesome. News coming out of Miami.
Oh,
you ready?
No.
So Stephen Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins. Could potentially lose the Miami Dolphins by owner vote if tanking allegations are proven true.
Man, we can never get out of the news. The thing is, if it's true and he got caught, yeah, he should. He should step down. You'll probably see him step down before he gets voted out. But I wouldn't be upset because we need to restart the organization, not the team, just the head honcho. We need to restart it all over again. So this would be a black eye to the team. But yeah, if this is the truth, like, and he wanted to pay Flores money to tank games, you can't do that.
You can't
We
do
got
that.
the integrity of the game. Like everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to be able to get championships. But there's a reason why we have rules. There's a reason why some things you just don't do. And if he was doing it, I hope they find out, and I hope he gets the justice that he deserves, and the team can go in the hands of somebody who actually respects the game of football. And if he didn't do it, I hope they also find out, and they nobody gets wrongfully whatevered. But obviously, it's a very dangerous situation.
Yeah. You never want to see that, because not only is it one against the rules, it's just bad for the game of football. We've had conversations in the past, not us specifically, but conversations in the past, when the Mavs were tanking to get a higher lottery pick in the NBA draft, or other teams in other leagues tanking to get to higher picks. And I feel like that just invalidates the integrity of the league when you're not willing to fight no matter what. And case in point, the Lions this year, right? They're headed for obscurity all season long, and then they go on that run, and Dan Campbell, the most inspiring head coach of all time, apparently, screaming and hollering, and they're hooting and hollering all about winning a singular game. And that's what I want to see. Like, even the Panthers, for all their faults this season, fought until the last game, right? Like, they tried to win every single game. As much as I wish maybe they would have tanked so Matt Rule would have been fired, but you don't want to see that in the league at all. I think it takes away from, like I said, the integrity of the game. So, I mean, obviously you hope this isn't true, but if it is, I do hope they remove him from his post, take the team away from him. If I'm Stephen Ross and I did this and now I'm being investigated, I put the team up for sale right now.
Yeah.
Just put the team up for sale. There's someone who built an empire off of cocaine in Miami that'll buy the team from you.
You went there.
What?
You did. I mean, I agree with you.
Can buy him.
Who?
You?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll go down there.
Yeah.
Yo, get it done, man. Let's do it.
Well, I'll make some trades real quickly.
That'll be our end to be the official podcast of the NFL.
It'll be the official podcast of the Miami Dolphins. I'm gonna bring
you pick us
Miami.
up.
Y'all going on a private jet? Oh my god, I'm picking y'all up so quickly. We're gonna do a show right in the office.
Oh, perfect. Can we all sit with like the backdrop of the field behind us?
Exactly.
Oh man, that's gonna be great. I can't wait for this to happen.
Yeah, I just don't want to go to Carolina because then I'm gonna have to meet Sam Darnold, and then we're gonna have
no, because if I go to Carolina, Sam Darnold's gone immediately. I will pay that pay that $19 million salary out of my own pocket.
In a surprise move, Nelstar says he has no issue with paying the $30 million early termination fee for Darnold, quoted saying on his way to his yacht, "I'm just done with this." I've had a lot of good Tuesdays in the last year,
I love it. Sam Darnold's just the butt of every joke for the regular season. Hey, but at least he's not on his butt as much as Joe Burrow.
Well, he is because he sits on the bench.
You're not wrong. And then our last head coaching candidacy has been filled as the Minnesota Vikings hired the offensive coordinator, Kevin O'Connell from the Rams. So the guy wins the Super Bowl and he's like, all right, I'm out. Runs away. Nate, you know some things about Kevin O'Connell. Used to be the used to be a quarterback for the New York Jets.
Do I?
He was
I don't. I'm not sure if I have the answers. Yeah. Well,
no, he never played a game for you guys. He was his backup.
Okay.
36 years old, had stints in Cleveland, San Francisco, Washington's where he kind of came up, or I guess that's where the McVay connection happens. Has been the offense coordinator of the Rams since 2020. He's the dude that turned that offense around. He did some stuff with Jared Goff, if that tells you anything about that guy. So imagine what he can do with Kirk Cousins. Yeah.
I don't see a big difference there.
Exactly. So if he can do it with Jared Goff, he can do it with Kirk Cousins.
Or you can do it with another quarterback.
You could.
Yeah. Just don't. Hey, if Kirk Cousins is willing to play for nothing, maybe while you're saving up to get a quarterback for real. But
everything's guaranteed in that contract of his.
Is someone else gonna give him another $80 million though? That's the real
probably.
Nightmare. Sometimes I go to sleep and all I can think about is someone else paying Kirk Cousins.
I will say this: Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, statistically, is a top 15 quarterback. So. He's a starter.
Yeah, it's really funny how stats don't tell the full story.
He's a starter.
Example. he's the best example that stats don't say everything.
All right, so we did this last week, and I kind of like these random questions that I come up with in my head because I just want to spur some discussion. All right, the Super Bowl just ended. Let's talk about who's going to be in the Super Bowl next year.
Oh my God!
The New York Jets, baby. We're going all the way. Okay, I'm telling you, we're gonna get DK Metcalf off the Seahawks. All right, we're gonna get Michael Thomas off the Saints because that team's gonna financially implode. It's gonna be beautiful. We're gonna have Lawrence Duvernay-Tardif with Mekhi Becton and AVT. It's gonna be beautiful. We'll draft a center. Zach Wilson. Okay, and it's gonna be beautiful. He's gonna have somebody better than no hands Corey Davis this next season. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Corey Davis is out. Jamison Crowder maybe stays another season if he's willing to play cheap, but yeah, they're gonna have to replace Marcus May too.
This man's serious. All right. Okay. All right. That derailed everything I had in my brain. If I'm being honest, I think my early way too early prediction for favorite for the Super Bowl, San Diego Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay, all right, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I think they have all the pieces and they have some cap room this season to really get some. They have a couple missing spots that they can fill. This is a good draft for them in terms of skill players. So I think that the Chargers are set up for success. And I think they'll be playing a Kirk Cousins led Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl.
Oh, Cousins on the Bucs. I'm gonna get sick, dude. I'm gonna get sick. I haven't even had dinner yet. My stomach hurts hearing that. That's painful. I do agree with you about the Chargers, though. They're poised. They're poised for a takeover. They're honestly, I really saw them being in about the same situation or very similar to the Bengals at the start of this year. Just think a couple things here and there didn't work out. Namely, some of the division opponents a little more competitive. That's just my 2 cents. But yeah, Chargers had definitely a big team I have my eyes on. I still want to see Jameis get a whole season with New Orleans.
With the Panthers?
But I think that I think that team is that I have no idea what kind of wizardry or dark magic they're going to use to get out of the salary cap thing this time.
Aren't they 70 million over the cap right now?
Yeah, it's not good.
But somehow there's not been a fire sale on their players yet. I don't know.
It's that 7-year, $100 million contract they gave to what's his name, the backup quarterback.
Oh God! Oh man!
They somehow found a way to make it so that all of it was
voided.
It's like all being funneled through one player somehow, and he's signed contracts with everybody else on the team. I don't know.
All right,
I have no idea.
And who's your way too early prediction? Because I do think Chargers Bengals is going to be AFC Championship next year for sure.
That would be awesome.
That'd be cool. That would be cool. Except
Except you're
So
wrong.
I got some. Yeah. So hear me out. This is early. I don't want people to judge me. They're gonna do it.
I'm
anyway.
gonna judge you.
So what we're gonna see in the Super Bowl is another Cincinnati Bengal type of situation, and that's gonna be in South Florida.
Oh my god!
Because Miami is gonna go to the promised land. They're gonna be going to the Super Bowl against. Hear me out. Against Jameis Winston. We don't know what team he's going to be on. We don't know because I have a gut feeling he's going back to Tampa. I feel like they're going to have a fire sale, right? You got Taysom Hill. You got that contract. Mm-hmm. You can let Jameis go because he doesn't agree with the offense. He goes back to Tampa where he knows the system. Team is pretty much in place. You might have to get a little few here and there. Mm-hmm. Boom. There you go. That is my that's my hope and dreams.
Okay. Well, yeah, so that happened. Two of the picks here were the Dolphins and the Jets. All right.
There you go.
Wishful thinking.
You got to believe in your team. Come on, don't tell me you don't want to see your team make the right changes.
Yeah, but I'm realistic. With Matt Rule at the helm, the Panthers are never making the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold.
But see,
now I want the Panthers to make the Super Bowl just to screw you over.
Yeah, I hope they do. Matter of fact, I'll put money on. You lucky it's not legal down here where I am, or I'll put money on the Panthers.
I've still got $4 left over in my account. No, sorry. That actually is going to the Jets winning the Super Bowl next year.
There are only 5 teams with worse odds to win the Super Bowl next season, and one of them's the Jets.
So that means you could turn $1 to $1 million.
Zack Attack on the way. Okay?
Zack Attack.
What happened to Money Mike? Year 2 is where it happens. Year 2 is where it happens. We're about to trade Mike White for Michael Thomas. Don't worry. He'll be the quarterback of the Saints, and we'll be on our way to the playoffs.
Head to the Super Bowl.
They got to get rid of that contract somehow.
I like these predictions.
Yes, Moss fan. The Giants. The only team worse than the Giants for Super Bowl line are the Jaguars. So the Giants are number 31. That's great.
Those some good bets right there.
Okay, let's talk about running backs for a second. Not too long ago, running backs defined teams, and now we're in an era of the NFL where the running game feels like an afterthought for a lot of teams, but there's still a few. So besides Derrick Henry, who would you say is a true franchise running back in the league right now? You can't say Christian McCaffrey because they're moving him to the slot.
Defines a team.
Yeah,
that is. I don't think that those arguments are all super wrong, right? Like look at what decided this Super Bowl. You had the run game there for Cincinnati. It wasn't there for LA, but the defense is always going to have that big potential. But if you're moving down the field and trying to win the game in a tight situation, you're not doing it running the ball, no matter how good your running back is. Maybe if you have like prime Ladini and Tomlinson, but we don't have a time machine, so you're most likely trying to throw the ball to get down the field when you have a minute left, and it's always going to be a much bigger factor. I feel like there are some kind of gimme answers you can try to go for, but like I don't know. I don't really think they carry their team because their teams aren't exactly that successful either. Thinking of like Dalvin Cook and Kamara and guys like them.
Yeah, well, too bad Kamara's in jail. So
yeah. Well, Kamara's got his own bunch of problems now. That's true.
I was thinking about this whenever I typed it up because there's not a lot, right? Dalvin Cook was one that came to mind because he's top 3 running back in the league, arguably. I would say, and then came to mind of who's going to build their franchise around a running back, and I think there's only one team that's going to do that, and this is Steelers, Najee Harris, as they try to find who their new quarterback is.
I would put on that list, I know he was hurt, but Saquon Barkley is still a type of running back that you build your team around because you don't want Danny Dimes to be.
You want Danny Dimes dropping dimes all game long, Ant.
And that's the problem.
When the
and that's the problem.
ownership and the coaching is too stubborn to cut their losses, like Arizona did before they moved to Murray, and obviously they've got their own thing now, but they at least had a couple good years there. If the Giants had been willing to do that and had somebody that could take some of that incredibly heavy load off of Barkley's back, maybe he would have been a little fresher. Maybe he wouldn't have got hurt as much, but I can't say that about him because as much as I love him, unfortunately, he was ruined by his team.
Mm-hmm. I think it's Najee Harris. I'm going to
that makes
that.
With Najee Harris, it scares me too. Without a quarterback, how much work is he going to have on
Mason
him?
Rudolph.
How is he going to adjust to that? With Mason Rudolph?
Hey, Mason Rudolph is really good at swinging helmets.
You know what? I changed my mind. I'm glad I didn't eat before this show. I'll let my stomach hurt while it's empty. That's fine. It's better. It's better than trying to digest all of this at once.
Listen, the Steelers are going to be great whenever they get Kirk Cousins.
It's
Steelers can pay Kirk Cousins. I don't mind that.
I don't want him to play.
Who, Kirk Cousins?
I'm tired of him. It's just like he's not good for the contract he's getting. Like I'm sorry. I'm tired of seeing him.
You mad at the guy for balling out for 2 seasons and then getting paid?
I mean, get your money, right? Get your money. But I'm just tired of franchises like, oh, he gonna take us to the playoffs, deep in the playoffs. We got this. And he's out of all the quarterbacks, he's the one to get the fully guaranteed contract.
Mm-hmm. He got a good agent.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Shoot. If I was a player, I'm going straight to his agent.
Oh yeah. Speaking of people who need better agents, Odell Beckham Jr. taking his salary in Bitcoin and then it crashing means he got paid like half his salary.
Yeah, sometimes you take a gamble.
Whereas, who was it? Russell Okung, I think last year or the year before when he was traded to the Panthers, he took his entire salary in Bitcoin, and that's the year that it spiked. So he went from making like $13 million, which was bargain bin for who he is as a left tackle, to being the highest paid player in the NFL that season because Bitcoin's rise.
Yeah. Yeah, you take that gamble sometimes.
You do. But yeah, I think that's all we got for the Super Bowl recap season finale. That's the end of the show, guys. It's the end of the season.
We made it through. We did the whole season. And I know I talked about before we got on, I'm kind of looking forward to the break, but being here and doing this with you guys has, I think we've all had, things going on and stuff that we've been dealing with this last year. So I just want to say thank you so much. I've had a lot of fun hanging out. I'm excited for what's coming. I'm excited for the future, but this has been one of my rocks this last year. So thank you guys.
I say it a lot. I say it on Twitter. I say it to y'all offline, but I appreciate it. This was I got to meet Nate, and now we know each other for 2010. I'm not trying to be emotional and everything, but just the fact that Rare Drop said, "Hey, y'all are good enough. Let's do 23, 22 episodes, and let's keep you on for the whole season." That means we did something right, and I thoroughly appreciate that. Yes. I know we can't talk about it, but I am excited about what's going forward. I can't thank Nell and Nate enough for letting me believe about Jameis the whole season.
Making Jameis a banned word next season.
And you know what? I'll leave that on a positive note. I hope he's healthy and we really do get a chance to fairly evaluate him.
Fair. Nah, this has been fun. I've been hosting the draft on Twitch for 4 or 5 years now, and was able to get Ant on 2 years in a row, and it's kind of a way that Ant and I reconnected after friends do. You kind of fall off from talking all the time, and Nate and I have followed each other on Twitter for a few years now, and I'm glad you replied to my random tweet of where my NFL fans at. And then I DM'd him. I was like, hey, you want to be on a podcast, bro?
And I'm like, you know what? I have no idea how I'm going to make this work, but yes.
Yeah.
This man did a show from Sweden, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
At like 3 a.m. in my hotel. It was awesome.
Man, coming back. Like, it's just, like I was nervous because I'll see him like, oh man, he's in a show, and I'm like, well, the show is on Tuesday, and he's still there. He got a flight cancels and delayed, but somehow Nate always made it work, and like I appreciate that too, man. I'm like,
Yeah.
That's dope, man, because we all got crazy schedules.
Yeah, I appreciate both of you guys. It's been a tough 2 years for pretty much everyone. And I know it's been nice, at least for me, to have something to look forward to every Tuesday. And then I know I don't know, but I think there are probably some people out there that listen, that this is a nice respite. So it's been cool to sit down and just talk football with buds, especially since all three of us are in an industry where sports aren't as popular, it's sports ball, right? So being able to talk sports in the middle of the gaming industry has been fun. So thank you two for joining me in this harebrained scheme that I came up with one night after I was hammered drunk 5 hours into the first round of the NFL draft, which was great. Don't worry, it's happening again. It's gonna be sponsored by Voodoo Ranger. I'll keep the light on.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. So speaking of that, we are going to be off for 4 weeks. There is nothing happening here for the regular season, but we do have 2 off-season specials planned as of right now. The first one will be March 22nd. That is the Tuesday following the start of free agency. We'll get on here for, 30 to 45 minutes, talk about the biggest signings, what it means, all that jazz. And then we will do a live cast of the entire first round of the NFL draft on April 28th.
Awesome. That's going to be awesome.
It's going to be great. I got to make sure and take off that day and the next day. So we will be back for that, and then we will return with the preseason. Probably preseason. I don't know if we're going to do all 3 weeks of the preseason, but we'll figure that out. But make sure everyone that is listening to join the Rare Drop Sports Discord. That way you can keep up to date with what we're doing, because I'm sure we'll make announcements there. Also follow Rare Drop Sports on Twitter. Follow all 3 of us on Twitter. You can find all that information down below, as well as the platforms that we stream on. Nate's a big StarCraft guy on his stream, whereas Ant and I both focus on Destiny. We're all 3 on different platforms. Nate's on Twitch. I'm on YouTube. Ant's on Facebook. So pick your poison. But again, thank you guys for coming on this journey with us for season 1. 23 episodes. 24 if you count the draft. But we won't. So, because the regular season wasn't born. And we have some surprises in store for you guys when it comes to season 2 of the regular season. So, this was fun.
Yeah, definitely be on the lookout just on Twitter, announcements and everything. So, yeah, thank y'all. Thank you, chat, the Moss fan, Casa here, just people just coming in and buying, just talking sports. It's just been fun. Appreciate it.
Yep. And I'm sure at some point I will do some hot takes for Rare Drop Sports on TikTok. So make sure you go follow them over on TikTok and on YouTube. But that does it for episode 23 of the regular season, our season finale. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you guys with our off-season specials starting on March 22nd. And we're done recording. The final episode is done recording.
We did it.
We did it.
We did it. We did it, Bailey. We did it. We did it. We did it, Bailey.
I love
so,
it.
So cool.
Well, gents, I appreciate you so much for joining me on this adventure and being my illustrious co-hosts.
You were amazing.
Thank you for having us. You're fantastic. You lead the way. You've gotten us through some very long run of shows. So I appreciate you for keeping us on task. And we didn't end up having a 3-hour podcast where we all lost track of time and got fired from our jobs. So that was good. We did a good job.
Yet.
Yet.
No, this is fun. I'm really glad we could do this. Yeah, so everyone watching on Twitch, make sure if you haven't to follow Rare Drop Sports. If you're into sim leagues as well as other shows, Overplayed's over here as well. Make sure to watch everyone. But that's going to be it from the regular season. We'll see y'all on March 22nd. Take care, everyone.